emotions, so for the sake of my own career, I'm going to have to make some kinds of compromises. But when looking at the day-to-day, maybe it's time for some kind of exciting break from the same old, same old. I like to imagine that you never really are locked in. You can make a change from what you're used to if you just brace yourself and go at it. Sometimes it just takes a push or two. And yeah, a little practice can go a long way too. But that's okay. Cooking is an art and a science. And when looking at either of those, you won't nail the perfect result on the first attempt. All the more reason to grab a pan and just keep trying. Bon appetit.
Back in 2020, just before the pandemic, Planters Peanuts ran an ad campaign for the Super Bowl, which featured the death of their beloved mascot, Mr. Peanut. Peanut, driving in the Nutmobile alongside Wesley Snipes and Matt Walsh, swerves out of the way of an armadillo, careening his car right off the side of a cliff. Holding on to a quickly snapping branch, Snipes, Walsh, and Peanut have to decide which one will fall first, with Peanut bravely choosing to sacrifice himself, falling to the ground and exploding along with the Nutmobile.
The ad sparked an outpouring of support from brand Twitter and bafflement among the general public around why the brand would choose to kill off their mascot. It wasn't unprecedented, though. Back in 2009, fast food brand Jack in the Box ran a similar ad in which their mascot, Jack, is struck by a bus while talking about the breakfast menu. This sparked a similar campaign wishing Jack the best in his recovery and subsequent return.
Well, as a child, the 2009 Jack in the Box campaign shocked me quite a bit. I mean, Jack just gets absolutely smoked by that bus. In 2020, my thinking was a bit different. Mr. Peanut had been a force of evil for as long as I can remember, as the embodiment of my nut allergy. As a kid, I used to fantasize about his violent death and draw comics depicting it, as if he's the one responsible for my autoimmune condition. Staying on brand in 2020 amid the outpouring of support for Mr. Peanut, I was celebratory. Finally, my childhood dreams had come true. I woke up the next morning after his death with the birds chirping, the sun shining, and me continuing to be allergic to nuts. While not the greatest cross to bear, even in the realm of food allergies, my nut allergy has been a defining aspect of my life. Namely, it has made me incredibly risk-averse, since I need to double-check with kitchens every time I order food at a restaurant, or triple-check labels every time I buy food. When I visited foreign countries, I've phonetically memorized how to ask if a dish contains nuts in the native language of the country, just to be sure they get it.
Ce plat contient-il des noix? Enthält dieses Gericht Nüsse?
Questo piatto contiene noci?
You get the idea. Usually, you get a lot of, we can't always guarantee our food is safe, which does give you the sense of taking a risk when you eat it. There's a sense of danger felt almost every day from this. Unless I'm cooking my own food, experiencing a particular flavor comes with greater or lesser caution taken, depending on just how common nuts are in those kitchens. Mexican food, for example, is almost always safe, minus the occasional mole sauce. Thai food is prohibitively dangerous, so I always have to cook it myself. Danger is a valuable thing. To experience it vicariously through watching someone else put themselves in harm's way, or firsthand from your own activities, is exciting. It's something that forms the backbone of the economy of leisure. Media is often sold on the promise of danger you can experience through it, either through dangerous acts depicted or the potential risk involved in consuming what you're not supposed to see. Theme park attractions provide safe ways of experiencing incredibly dangerous scenarios, like being launched at 80 miles an hour and thrown through the air. Watch action movies or play video games to experience incredibly dangerous scenarios in a controlled way, with mediated or passive involvement.
In Half-Life Alyx, there's a moment where you have to jump down from a platform and grab a shotgun that's stuck to a zombie's hand. As you turn the wheel to lower him down, you hear some concerning bangs against the walls surrounding you. You solve the puzzle, grab the gun from the hand, and because the game is in virtual reality, you're tasked with loading the shells in manually as the banging gets louder and louder. After a few seconds, the walls burst open and 3 zombies approach. When I first played this, for a moment, the mediating distance from the game was suspended. I saw through the headset 3 full-sized, deadly creatures lumbering towards me, and all I had was a shotgun I still needed to finish loading. So I felt that true danger. I turned and ran, straight into the wall of my living room. It's funny to realize that, right, the danger was never really there. It's just rendered 3D models and sound effects beamed across a wire to a headset. But a lot of great art feels dangerous. An artist friend of mine, Emmett Palima's work, is downright scary at times. In a recent show in an abandoned school in Bed-Stuy, he filled a room with an evolving hum. And that doesn't seem dangerous or scary on paper because you have to feel it. You have to sit in the room with your thoughts as it shakes your ribcage, stimulating sensory nerves you didn't realize you had because they're aimed internally versus externally. The setting felt like a party gone awry, being out too late, or losing where your friends went, thinking it's about time to go home. Your bus won't arrive for another 30 minutes, you don't want to splurge on the Uber, so your options are just staying here for a while or sitting out in the cold. And it's not a dangerous situation, but the anxiety there is closely linked. As Yet Untitled is a piece by Max Dean, which involves a robotic arm showing old photographs to the viewer, giving them an option to save them before it drops them in a shredder. Slowly, the scraps of photo paper pile up beside the arm, corpses of images nobody was there to save, or ones chosen to die. Here, danger is not merely witnessed as it is in a movie, but observed with the viewer as a bystander, someone with agency to prevent it. While the only thing in danger is a photograph, implications come to mind of a photo as memory, and an active choice to forget or not. A similar choice to inflict danger is given by Iraqi-born artist Wafa Bilal's 2007 livestream performance piece, Domestic Tension. For 1 month, Bilal lived in a tiny apartment with paintball guns along one wall. At any moment, the live stream's chat as well as gallery visitors could fire on him. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, for a month, Bilal was under fire from internet strangers given a little piece of the power that drone operators exercise.
Hi everybody, it's day 30th. The gun is very busy right now. I don't have any script written, but I have a lot of people online who are trying to shoot, and as you can know.
Unbelievably, this work had such a prophetic vision of the style of war that would be fought in the immediate years to come. The nature of danger in modernity. Starfish and Citrus Thorn is a 2021 lecture and performance piece by artist duo Golden and Seneby, which consists of simultaneously telling the story of the discovery of biological immunity in 1882, alongside the personal story of one of the artists, Jacob Seneby, and his struggle with MS. Seneby's personal narrative is incredibly raw.
These days, I've come to terms with my limited mobility, but I struggle with my working memory. I feel like I'm fading into the background, and the world around me becomes these disparate events that no longer fits together in a coherent whole.
While the historical account of the history of immunity in general is given a more clinical, broad approach. Meanwhile, the format of the lecture places Seneby in a wide two-shot, but small and to the right, while the microscopic images are huge, abstracted, and hyper-close. In her review of the performance for Eflux, Ivana Bago beautifully makes the metaphor of Seneby's personal history being treated with the same microscopic view as the footage of the starfish's immune system. She goes on to discuss how autoimmune conditions like MS and, at a more minor level, food allergies, are thought of as Western conditions, considering they are most prevalent here. They are thought to result from a simultaneous lack of demand on the immune system, thanks to modern medical science, clean water, FDA standards, and the like, with the consumptive and unhealthy lifestyles encouraged. Lots of food, that won't poison you immediately, but will clog up those arteries. In lieu of obvious threats like the photographs in As Yet Untitled or Bilal's auto experiment, danger comes slowly. The longer you stand in one of Emmett's rooms or in front of one of his arcing electric pieces, the more imprinted memories of danger creep in. As Senaby tells his story, he focuses on slow realizations and oddities, minor concerns like a painless leg cut that indicate a subtle image of the condition he has.
Commodified danger is a sign of modernity, a sign that we live in the future. And I'm grateful that most fear is leisurely fear. Most danger is fake danger, played up by creative works to feel something that isn't really there. It's kind of the hallucination of danger. It's fun because you can overcome it, or at least you can wait it out. Walk to the other side of the rock and look back and realize you brushed past a potential threat. Exit the ride and imagine, what if the seatbelt broke loose? It's easy to confront danger when it appears as an object, something that you can see and feel rather than something abstract. This is where I make no distinction between the death of Mr. Peanut and the great works of dangerous art. Of course, one is an aesthetic experience and the other a marketing campaign played for laughs. But these are irrelevant. The memories evoked by an artwork and a stupid corporate mascot are both objects marking a danger, something to be overcome. And in food, the danger is even more accessible through its direct line into your bloodstream, the way it's digested and used as nourishment. If one of Emmett's pieces were to shock me, for example, yeah, it would hurt. But it wouldn't require a hospital visit. For me, a brush with Mr. Peanut is an express ticket to the ER. How then can this object of danger be overcome? When the Planters Company killed off Mr. Peanut in 2020, they followed up the ad with the birth of their new mascot. Mr. Peanut was reborn as Baby Nut, the same guy, but cuter now, I guess. Some have speculated that Baby Nut was trying to cash in on the mass appeal Baby Yoda had at the same time, as The Mandalorian had premiered just a few weeks prior. Either way, the company did not kill him off and announce their exit from the peanut business. A victory in the war I didn't actually fight. Instead, it was just a publicity stunt for a minor rebrand. I had not won the day in the end. And not overcome my mortal enemy.
The tricky thing about real danger as opposed to the danger offered by art is that real danger is never overcome. What is thought to be overcoming danger is usually danger not actually occurring. You didn't survive a skydive. The parachute worked as intended. Eating fugu is not dangerous if it's done correctly. On the other hand, when you save one of As Yet Untitled's photographs, you prevented danger. Every time I've ever been concerned about a dish having cross-contamination with nuts, and I subsequently didn't get a reaction, there was no survival there. It was just being worried about nothing. Surviving real danger, like Jack surviving getting hit by that bus, is luck and circumstance, and it being an ad. Hopefully, external factors were in place to slow the bus's speed. Factors in Jack's general health and positioning that made it inessential body parts that took the brunt of the force of impact, etc.
What I'm trying to say here is that through art, there can be a separation from danger's personal impact that allows it to be overcome. You can take action to prevent it, to ponder it, to view it externally, to understand it, and ultimately come to accept it. You have agency to affect danger directly, something you can't do when you're experiencing real peril and must rely on external circumstances to survive it. I've had, to date, 5 instances of anaphylactic reaction to nuts, in the order of peanut butter, macadamia nut, walnut, pine nut, and cashew. Each time it's been a different culprit, but I've overcome none of them. I survived all of them, thanks to quick access to hospitals and epinephrine, but if they were to happen again, I would simply have to hope I survive again. Nothing to overcome, only perseverance and hoping that danger, should it occur again, is not consuming. Danger can only be accepted. It can only exist in itself, as something to be avoided at a lesser or further distance. When art abstracts it, danger becomes more understandable. Thrill-seeking for art that abstracts the dangers we remember, try to avoid, try to understand, or a force to live with, is a vehicle for transcending it. This is a personal choice, how close one wants to be to real danger, the relationship to it they form through art's abstractions. Should the time arise to confront it, though, it takes strength to accept it as a risk.
I'm sure my Thai cooking is shit compared to any Thai chef, but you know what? I have no way of knowing since I've never tasted it and probably never will. But I hope this is close. And, here. Let me know if it's any good.
Recently, I ordered pizza, and there were several new pizza options.